Floor to Olivier Baguette.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So, as Michael said, the purpose of this first presentation, there is a bit of echo, no? Okay. If you remember, we presented you the TL Manager 5.0 end of June, even in May and in June, in preparation of the eIDAS transition. We presented you at that time. Next slide, please. We presented you at that time the different features of TL Manager and how it. And how it's a big change compared to the fourth version. Actually, TL Manager 4.1.8. The big change, as you know, is that it's now something that can be run, an application that can be run 24/7. Either you can install it locally, on a national environment on your side, or you can use an EC-hosted version that has been deployed at the Commission. The different features, categories of features that we can divide TL Manager in are the feature of being able to edit a trusted list, of browse a trusted list, of monitor the checks and changes that have occurred in a trusted list, and a separate part is the ability to send a notification in the sense of the Commission implementing decision, to send a notification to the Commission for notifying a change in signing certificates, locations, or even the contact details to which we can contact you. So I will not go into all the details of the different features. I would say, focus on what has changed from TL Manager 5.0 that you know now, that you have used for your first eIDAS version trusted list. I will focus on the difference between this one and the new 5.1 TL Manager that is not yet available as a release and not yet hosted at the Commission, but that we plan to host by the end of this year. So it's a kind of a sneak preview of the different features that we will find in addition in this new version of the tool. So TL Manager 5.1, what is changing, what is new? First of all, as we will see in the edition and in the browsing, there are new features regarding checks and changes. From your feedback, we updated somehow the behavior. We will go in further details in the next slide. Checks and changes features when you edit a draft trusted list, when you browse a trusted list that is already published. We also improved the status report that summarized in a PDF document all the checks and changes that are performed on a trusted list. Could it be a draft trusted list or a published one? A major feature, I think, a new feature is the possibility to sign a notification. We already presented that. We already presented in a roadmap that we will implement it. Now it will be available in 5.1. The idea of the signed MS notification is the fact that because it is signed, we can automatically verify we can verify it is authorized, and we can automatically process it. So it's a full electronic process from the time you submit it to the time it is included in a lotto. We will present you that in a few slides. Another change in 5.1 is that we changed the way of signing a TL. because of the urgency of the TL Manager 5.0, at the time of the deadline of the IDAS, we included a tool that was called NextView, and that was a licensed product. And now we move to NextView open source with new features like no obligation of installation, etc., etc. I will cover that later, but there is a bit of a change here. And the last feature that we will present is the fact that we integrate the conformance checker of Etsy. I think for a better convenience when you have to check the trusted list that you draft. Okay, let's focus on browsing. So when you are browsing a published trusted list, you will now have, this is a snapshot of the banner that you have on the top right corner of the screen, but anyway, we will have a demo in a couple of minutes. Now you have different buttons, TLCC, changes, create draft and export. Create draft and export, you know them already. The TLCC and changes require a bit of explanation. Actually, first changes, a nice feature that may be useful when you browse your published trusted list is the fact that you can now compare the current one with an older one. Older can be any trusted list that we have historized, that we have archived. I think it's since end of June so far, but we will gather all published trusted lists from now on. So for instance, if you are at sequence number 28, you can compare it to 27, 26, 20, 25, 24, anything you want can be useful if you want to remember what has changed so far. Another change is the status report. As said, it has been redesigned. Now you have a first page with a summary explaining, comparing the two different trusted lists that you have chosen and doing a comparison of sequence number for sure, but a summary of the different changes and the checks that were performed. And if you go to the other pages, we will see that in the demonstration, you have all the, in detail, all the changes that have been spotted and all the checks that have been performed and led to maybe warnings or errors, including the checks that are performed by the conformance checker. So you have all in one PDF document if you want to refer it outside of the application. And as I said, a new feature is the fact that you can trigger now the conformance checker of Etsy from inside the application. More about this in a few slides, but in a few words, we didn't integrate it inside the tree view of the application, yet you can now trigger the exact same conformance checker that you have on the Etsy portal. You can now have it inside TL Manager without having to authenticate and connect to the portal of Etsy, upload the trusted list, etc. Now you can work on your draft inside the TL Manager and trigger these checks quite simply. Okay, let's move up. Yeah, maybe a bit of demo on these features. So if we can switch. Share. Yeah. We are launching the share of the browser. No, it's not. Okay, so here is the TL Manager in 5.1 version. We can browse a trusted list. Yes, French, for instance. France. Okay. Let's illustrate the first new feature. If you click on the Changes button, you can see that you have a pop-up that displays all the archived versions that we have collected so far. And with this, suppose you click on the 24th version, you will then compare, that's what the pop-up says, you will then compare these two versions, and the icons that you know now representing the changes actually here represent the differences that are spotted between the 28th version and the 24th. There is a banner at the top of the tree view to remind you that actually these changes are between this and this, to not forget that you are not actually browsing, not detecting with the previous version. Okay? So as soon as you go away from the screen, you will stop spotting the changes between these two. Okay. Next feature is the status report. So if you go on, you can even go here actually. From this view, you can export the status report. So here we will trigger the calculation of the checks and the changes on these two versions. So it will be changes from 24 to 28, and it will be checks on the 28. Oh. It will work, yes. So, no, it's on 27, I made a mistake. Okay, anyway, you can see this is the first page, this is a summary page, where you can, when you can compare the published version and the previous version. Okay, a summary of the changes and the checks. And if you go to the next pages, you will have the detail regarding both the changes and the checks. This is a difference compared to the current version TL Manager 5.0 because at this time I think we have only the checks, not the changes. So now you have all in one page. And if you continue to scroll, you can see that there are quite a bit of checks that are performed, and here we come up on the section that is produced by the Etsy conformance checker. So here you should recognize exactly the output that you get when you upload a trusted list on the Etsy conformance checker tool on the portal. Okay. Let's close it. Yeah. Next feature, same TLCC. You can trigger it from this button. If you trigger the conformance checker, you have all the messages that are produced by the conformance checker, classified by error, warning, etc., etc. You can see that it's quite verbose, but you know that tool already. As said, so far we integrated the conformance checker, but we didn't, I would say, post-process the messages, and they are presented here in a pop-up. The next step will be to integrate them even in the tree view, so you will be able to localize the errors or the warnings, the messages inside the tree view of the application. Okay, this was for browsing a trusted list. Let's switch to the presentation. Okay, now editing a draft trusted list. What has changed? Status report again has changed. Now you compare the draft trusted list compared to the published one. Same as previously. You will have a detailed PDF document explaining all this. A feature that might interest you as well is the fact that now, as you can see on the top right corner of the screen, this banner, you can now toggle on and off the performance of the checks and the changes. So it was a request for lengthy trusted list. For some trusted lists, in particular the one of Germany, these trusted lists are quite big, And for performance reason, now we can kind of uncheck the changes, the check and changes, because you want to set up something in the trusted list, and every time you save the trusted list, you don't want to perform all these things once again. So you can just disable them temporarily. Anyway, at the time you will need to sign it or export it, you will have to enable them again to be able to perform that step. So it can be a nice feature to ease your work of putting everything in place, and then at the very last time performing a check of everything. And then it can be a bit lengthy. We don't mind. It's not on each interaction. Okay. Somewhere maybe on the retention policy, when you create a draft, but you know that already. We warn you about the fact that these drafts after 6 months are subject to being deleted. Just to remind you that the TL Manager tool, it's not a way to store your work on the long time. It's a way to conveniently draft a new trusted list, publish it, but don't expect to find your old trusted list after 6 months, because that would mean a bit of storage consumption. Okay, let's switch to the presentation of these features. So status report, I don't think there is a need to illustrate that again, but maybe the toggle button of the check changes would be nice. Let's create a new trusted list, Europe or Luxembourg, for instance. You can see that a new draft has been created, as you know. Sequence number has been updated as well. And now you can see that the checks and changes have been performed, because there are these icons in the margin. And now you can just disable them temporarily. There is a pop-up warning you of this. And I think it reminds you that you should enable them again before publishing the new trusted list. Yeah, for sure. For validity reason, it's better to perform all these checks again. You have that banner that warns you that everything is disabled. You can freely update any field. Yes, even the sequence number. And at the time you will want to sign it or export it, suppose we sign, we warn you that before signing you should enable the check again. And by checking, same if you try to export. And actually, if you click again on the check and changes button, we say that it will be enabled again, that it will perform all these checks again. And so there is a kind of bit of processing. And once again, we find these icons that display what has changed in the trusted list. Okay, thank you. Let's switch. And now presenting you maybe the most important feature of this new release, the notification that has been improved. So what was already present in the last version, the current version, TL Manager 5.0, is the fact that compared to previous year, for instance, so to the last situation, now you have the ability to connect to TL Manager hosted at the Commission, fill in a web form. This web form is pre-filled with the current information that we know, the scheme operator name, the scheme contact details. A word on this: scheme contact details are important for us, certainly these emails. So please keep them aligned with your situation, because these emails, we use them when we want to contact you for any information. And for sure, in this page, conformant to the Commission implementing decision on the notification, we present you the member state administrative anchors. And this word means the signing certificates and the XML and PDF locations for the trusted list, the one that are actually inside the pointer to other TSL, the PTO TSL in the LOTL for your member states. So everything is electronic in this web form. What is also in that form is the fact that there is a date of submission and a date of effect. A few words on this in the next presentation on the MS notification itself. But okay, the situation is that you fill the form electronically, and then you export it in PDF and send it via email to a functional mailbox here at the Commission, ECTL service, from an authorized notifier, because we wanted that not everyone can send such email because it can have important impact. So we maintain the list by member states of who is an authorized notifier. That was a bit tedious for both sides. So now we are automating this. Let's switch to the next slide. The situation now in the 5.1 is actually exactly the same web form, a bit redesigned with the check and changes we will see in the demo. But now you can sign it with one of the signing certificates of the trusted list, meaning that as long as you have installed the signing tool, the Nexu signing tool, which enables you to sign your trusted list, you can sign in the same way. You can sign the MS notification, and you can send it from inside the web application. So it's a nice feature because then it's way easier than exporting it PDF, sending it via email, keeping in mind that you have to send it from an authorized notifier, and on our side, authenticating that manually that notifier, processing the PDF by copy pasting, etc., etc. Here everything is fully automated. And you will be able to verify it quite easily. If you in your notification update scheme contacts, they will be processed. These changes of scheme contacts and in particular emails will be processed automatically on our side, and we will update the contact details that are displayed on the Trust Backbone page of the Health Manager. And if you update the administrative anchor, meaning the signing certificates and the XML and PDF locations, if you modify this one, on our side, it will automatically create a new draft total that we just have to publish to make your changes official inside the LOTL. So it's way easier than the current situation. And for each of them, you will receive a confirmation email to all these scheme contact emails, confirming the fact that we have received your information and that they have been processed. One more word on this. I said that you have to sign it from the application. Actually, more precisely, you have to sign it with one of the signing certificates. You can either install this Nexu tool to make it signed from the application, or you can, exactly in the same way as you do with the trusted list, you can export it outside, sign it with the tool of your choice, accessing the signing certificates, the private keys of your choice, and import it back again into the tool to have a signed MS notification. Okay, so let's switch to the demo for this. Okay, so we will create a new notification, for instance, Belgium. As you can see, a few changes here. Now, when you come on that page, you are in a read-only mode. in the same way that you know in typical web applications. You can import an existing file. Suppose you have exported yesterday an MS notification or you have signed externally your MS notification. You can import it back into the tool via that button. That button, can you show it with the mouse? This one. Okay. Okay, and if you want to modify the existing, so these are the information that we know on our side, either because it's included in the pointer to other TSL of the LOTL regarding your country, or because these are the scheme contacts that we keep in our database for contacting you. So if you want to modify something, you just edit this information. Then you are in a mode where you can edit it, do some modifications. For instance, you can remove the contact email, maybe change something in the locations or new certificates, okay? Let's assume we do some changes. As you can see, we now have a detection of the changes. Okay. And then, as soon as you are okay with your modification, yeah, once again, but that was existing already. Because of the change, we recall the measures that have to be taken by you to ensure that there is a transition period. There is a dedicated presentation on the transition period. The next presentation is on that, so I will not cover this in this one. But this is the measure that you have to take if you delete certificates, or if you modify the list of certificates or allocations. Okay, suppose you are happy with the modifications, you just validate them. At that moment, we trigger the checks, as we did in the past, but now integrated into the tool in the same way, in the same layout. Okay, if the checks are okay, you can then decide to either sign it or export it to sign it somewhere else, or export it to, for instance, continue your work tomorrow. So yeah, please be aware that these checks, even if they are, I would say, critical checks, we still not prevent you from sending us this notification, because there can be some reason for this. As you see at the bottom, we can see that currently the notification is not signed. So we will sign it for the purpose of the demonstration here. Please be aware that because we sign with one of the signing certificate that is not inside the authorized signing certificate for Belgium, for sure the tool will complain and say that it's a valid certificate, it's a valid signature, but not authorized, for sure. So here we signed it through Nexu. Sorry, it was not displayed on your screen because for Adobe Connect, the webinar tool is considered as a different application, so you couldn't see the pop-up. But now, as you can see, refreshing. No, it's signed but invalid, right? Okay, so the signature, you can see that it's now signed but invalid. So we did a few screenshots on our side. Maybe you can switch the presentation to show you how it behaves when in a situation where we can tweak the LOTL to make the signing certificate okay. Yeah. Sorry, it was a bit short. Okay, so suppose the signature. Don't we have something? No? Ah, okay. Okay, I thought we had a screenshot of this, but anyway, suppose you have signed it and send it to the commission through the appropriate button. Actually, I think we have a screenshot, but it's not in this presentation. Actually, when you have signed it and the signature is okay, because it's one of the signing certificates authorized for signing the trusted lists, Then the send button is enabled, and you can send the notification to the commission. When sending the notification to the commission, you will get that pop-up saying thank you for submitting, and you should receive an email confirming this sending if you are in the emails of the contact details for sure. This is typically the email you will get, an email actually that confirms you the good sending, and in attachment you will have both a PDF version of the notification if you want to store a copy of it just for archiving purposes, and you will get as well an XML version, actually the data that is sent to the commission. If you want, for some reason, to work on that notification in a later time, suppose you want to start again from this, you can import actually that XML inside the notification page with the import button, and you will it will pre-fill all the fields with this XML as a starting point, and you can start again from this data. This is the PDF version attached to the email, a bit redesigned from the one you currently know. And this is the XML version just for the sake of completeness. Okay, so let's focus on that signing feature again. As you know, there are two alternatives. Either you sign from the browser, or you decide to sign outside of the browser. So signing now is used for both a trusted list and for member state notification. If you decide to sign from the browser, for sure it's a better user experience because you can do everything from the application, and except the publication of the trusted list, the rest can be done entirely from this. As you know, this part is based on DSS for signing. What we changed is the fact that now the Nexu module that we use for signing is now in an open source version, so that we can now offer a complete open source solution that you can either use hosted by the Commission, or that you can deploy on your side. There was a bit of limitation if you wanted to deploy it locally. One of the limitations was the fact that it didn't support locally the HTTPS protocol, meaning that you had to install it on an HTTP server. That could be a limitation for some people. So now it has full HTTPS support if you want to install it locally. Another feature that we removed is that there was a need for an installation. Now we suppress that. Actually now, as you will see when you will sign for the first time, you will download a new version of Nexu, and this new version is something you don't have to install, you just have to start it before signing. So there is a bit of I would say, tweak before using it, because you, for instance, just create a shortcut on your desktop or something like that, something that can easily trigger Nexu. But it's way easier, and it's easier to be used in a constrained environment because there is no installation anymore. So you just download Nexu and run it the way you want, and then it's up to you to decide whether you want to create a shortcut on your desktop to start it easily, or even ask your IT support team to create, for instance, a service that would make it run every time your PC is started. So this part of the application has been left to you, and you do what you want. Another important feature is that because everything as HTTPS, etc., is now supported in this version, you can have the same Nexu module being used for both the central application from the Commission and the local installation that you could do on your national environment. So there is no need to have two different NextU. If you remember at the time of the EIDAS transition, we had no time to do that, so we had actually two different NextU. That could be a bit annoying. Now everything is merged, and you will use the same one. So you can just remove all NextU installation on your PC and use this one. Okay, but still, as we explained, end of May, end of June, you can still decide not to install NextU. It's not mandatory in any way, and just export your trusted list and sign it with any tool you like. For instance, you could use the demonstration of DSS, the web application of DSS, and upload your trusted list, sign it with DSS, and export it again and import it back into the TL manager. That would work. But I know that for some countries, their signing certificates are located in a way that doesn't make it easy to access it from TL manager. So it's a nice feature to be able to export your trusted list and make it sign in the way you want. In particular, for the MS notification, now that the MS notification has to be signed for an automated processing, we wanted to make it as open as possible to be sure that the MS notification can be easily signed. One word on this: suppose you have problems for signing the notification. You can still, as you saw from the features of the MS notification page, you can still export it either in XML or in PDF and send us an email. It's not the preferred way of doing it because it will require manual steps on your side and on our side as well. But if you face any problem for signing your notification, that shouldn't prevent you from sending it, please. You can export in any format and send it to us like we do currently. Okay? Last word on the Etsy tool. So as you saw in the different demonstration, we have now integrated the conformance checker. Actually, part of the tools were already integrated because we could already generate a PDF from TL Manager in the flavor of the TLCC. We could generate the SHA-2 companion file, and now you can generate the XML. You can trigger the conformance checker on the XML version of the trusted list. One word on this is that for the moment we have a bit of incompatibilities between the conformance checker and the Commission environment. So it will work with no problem if you locally install a TL Manager. We are still working on the central hosting at the Commission to make this compatibility again with between the conformance checker and the environment at the Commission. So it is integrated, but for a question of configuration, we still have to make it work on the central hosting. Okay. A word as well on the roadmap ahead. So we plan to deliver you this 5.1 version by the end of this year. We are finishing the testing phase. We are tweaking some things like this TLCC installation, but okay, should be done by the end of this year. Next versions are expected to include a way to assist the presentation of a trust mark for a TSP. Another feature is monitoring and alerting improvement, a way to trigger alerts, for instance, emails when something occurred on your trusted list. That would be a nice feature to have some kind of a push information and not to have to connect to a website to check if everything is okay, like availability or major errors or things like that. And another feature that we are working on is the integration, the full integration of the conformance checker. We are working in close collaboration with Etsy to make this conformance checker, I would say, more fine-grained. For the moment, the conformance checker is not fine-grained in the sense that you have to give him a full trusted list and receive all the checks of that trusted list. And what we want to do is to have some kind of fine-grained calls where you can say, please check that TSP or that service of the TSP. If we are able to do that, then we will be able to question the conformance checker every time you do a modification in your trusted list and present it back again, the result, into the tree view. So you will have actually, to summarize, the current checks that you know in the tree view. These checks will be performed by the conformance checker under the hood, but they will be displayed in the same way they are currently. Okay, this closes the demonstration of the yes, maybe, maybe before finishing it, we extracted the slides that show you the signature of a notification. Yes, so here we are on a notification. You select a country, you edit the content. Yes, go on maybe. Okay, then now we want to sign it, so the checks are triggered. We trigger the validation, the checks are performed, it is not signed. We then sign the notification with NextView. Okay, fill in the password for accessing the smart card, and then at the bottom of the screen, you can see that now the notification is signed, signature is valid and green. Now you can also see, I hope you can see that the button, the submit button is activated, meaning that because it is signed, you can send it. And if you send it, this is where you will get that pop-up saying that thank you for submitting this notification, and you will promptly receive an email. Okay, and the rest is already shown. Okay, thank you. I hope that it was understandable. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions. We prepared actually a way to a poll to see if you appreciated the presentation. So normally on your screen you should see poll questions. Yeah, and we are hoping that you reply to this to get a feedback on your satisfaction.